It's a Frank White push, stick called the Lexus LX 4.5, bulletproof glass tips if I want some. Add on blast sweepstakes, ask questions like that's how most of these so-called gangsters act. Rapping about blunts and broads, is the broad, menage a trois, sex and expensive cars, and still leave you on the pavement. Condo pit.
All right. Good morning. Good morning. Hope everyone's feeling well. Hopefully everyone's controlling what they can control. My name is Scott Redler. I'm the Chief Strategic Officer of T3Live.com. Welcome to today's 630 Club, also founder of Red Dog Mindset. Hopefully you've been getting value from this free video that you've had since 2020. It's 2026. For those of you who have subscribed to Red Dog Mindset, you will never, ever lose the 630 Club. And you can add the 2520 and the weekends. But anyway, today, look at this. Some people are like, oh my God, how did this happen? I'm like, well, there were some clues adding up. You know, yesterday I tweeted the chart of the Qs. I'm like, I don't understand how we're so elevated. The wedge that was put in place since Warsh kind of felt like it was vulnerable to the downside. Most names below the 8 and 21 day. What's Red Dog's methodology when you're below the 8 and 21 day? You know, you're not sitting in a long, especially if you trade actively for a living. There is not one old school Mag 7 name above the 8 or 21 days, so there's no reason to be any of them. I tried a few with different types of thoughts and got stopped out of them yesterday, so it's good to respect your stop. It's good to get out of the way when things change. Thank God this is happening today, not yesterday, because Thursday gave you some clues to have a few extra longs on, but then yesterday gave you a way to get out of them all, thank goodness, and get a little short. So anyway, with that being said, good morning, Mark. Good morning, Gary. Good morning, John. Good morning, Joe. You know, if you look at the chart of the SPYs and you have your sell rules, what did it do? It got above a prior high and couldn't hold it. That was your Red Dog reversal sell. Then it almost closed below a prior low, and you have the inside range. And while this is going on, lots of different names are all just not acting special whatsoever. You know, you have the Amazon below the 200-day, software down for 20 days. Things kind of felt vulnerable. You know, look at the Qs also. Like the Qs pushed above a prior high, okay, and couldn't hold it. You know, this looked fine though. So, but the stocks underneath the surface looked absolutely horrendous. Besides a few select semis. So now what? So if you look here at the Qs are down 20 points. This is 717. So you're below 720. Okay, so that's one level. So see if it stays below this 720. So I would think, you know, 711 is your next spot. And then we were all the way down to 686. So I would be careful. You know, the Hynix is down 9.9%. You know, we'll see what the morning brings here. So I would say 711 is a spot. And then here's your 50-day. You know, you go back to the SPYs. You know, 735 is a spot where the SPYs right now, right around there. It's a spot. And then really you have the 50-day, which held the last time down to 722. It's right around 729. Inside wedge breaking lower. So, you know, it's good to use stops. A lot of guys, you know, made really good money in SpaceX. And guess what? They got stopped out of 187. Better to get stopped out of 187 than riding this all the way down, right? Wasn't this a nice little stop if you used it? 187 is when it changed. 187, it no longer was holding higher. So now we'll see, does it stay below 150 or reclaim it? I am not in SpaceX. I actually had a little bit on yesterday, and I actually lost at 172. 172 I stopped out. Guess what? I was able to control that. Better to get stopped out at 172 than hold your nose down to 148. Control what you can control. That's it. Someone's also like, well, Red Dog, you had a little Amazon on yesterday. I'm like, I did, because I thought maybe there was a double bottom. Maybe. Guess what? Got stopped out of that too. Anyway, why did I get stopped out? Because this potential double bottom here and here changed. So I got out at 236-ish, which, again, you control what you can control. Anyway, I did make some money in a few different other things like SOXS and just, you know, cash the position. I don't own one Mag 7 name, one software name. It's, you know, it's nice cash being in position. But anyway, with that being said, you know, again, that was then, this is now. We'll see what's going on. Other people are like, well, look at Microsoft. I'm like, yeah, look at Microsoft. Look at that island top at Microsoft. You keep trying to buy Microsoft island top. You had a quick move to the upside. It should never have broken here. When something's not supposed to do something, it tells you something. If it was going to retest here, that's one thing. Instead of broken, it's just going lower. So if you're just buying it because it's Microsoft, you're not following your tactics and your rules. If it's below the AIM-21 day, which really is right here, 426 versus holding your nose all the way down to what could be, 356. So maybe see what happens here at 356. You're buying Amazon today? All right, so good luck to you. Amazon's absolutely giving you no reason to buy it, except for maybe there's a small little tactical, maybe you get a small little red dog reversal, where we're not even, where it reclaims 232 for a trade from 278 down. Remember the red dog reversal sell up there? That was a great spot to get rid of it. Lower high red dog reversal sell, gap down, never filled. So there are clues when people are like, how did this happen? Let's go through how it happened. And then Google also, like I want to give you two different ways to get out. One was right here when it broke this upper triangle pennant. And then if you had it on, which it made some sense. Hey, made some sense on Thursday to have some Google on, but then you had about 5 minutes to get out of the way at 358 yesterday. If you did so, you saved yourself a lot of pain. Again, sometimes getting out of the way and making a good decision where you lose money is better than losing a hell of a lot more. So when the reason you're in a trade changes, you got to get out of the way. Anyway, whatever that is, it is. What's the story with people are saying, NVIDIA? NVIDIA also, I got stopped out yesterday. So I had a few little things on that I was trying because on Thursday there were some clues that, hey, maybe we're going to hold around. And then yesterday changed that. So what did NVIDIA do? NVIDIA, gave you a decent day to be long on Thursday, got above, if you use your sell rules, got above a prior high, couldn't hold it. So maybe you sold some strength and then, got out of it when it couldn't hold 211. So every now and then I'll show you guys like different things that I use, like right here, like sell rules. Be like, well, Red Dog, why do you always post the sell rules? Because these sell rules are things that could keep you in the game, right? If you're long a position and it's up, you always want to trim and chill and net some money so you could add it up and get paid. If it gets above a prior high and you think it's going to add a day and it doesn't hold that prior high, guess what? It's different. You adjust. If it happens to go right and takes out a prior low, maybe the complexion change. So these sell rules are things you should print out and have on your desk for when the market changes and just, to net money and do some things a little bit different. Anyway, that's the sell rule. So let's go back to TrendSpider. Somebody said, what about IBM? IBM put in a small little bottom tail yesterday. IBM has not been special. If you played it because there was a little reason to be in it, yeah, you know what? I could see why you would have been in some IBM yesterday. So sometimes not everything is perfect, where you play something and you get a side swipe. Like this little day probably gave a small sense of security, but guess what? Below the 8 day is right here. So if you were playing it, you were playing for a tactical bounce. And if you did, what's it doing today? You're actually up 8 points. Look at that. You chose the right vehicle. Good for you. Anyway, from 330 down with a little bit of like look what the Qs did yesterday. The Qs closed near the lows or not even well. By the way, this is what we talked about yesterday. So what I say, hard to see how the Qs are so close to all-time highs. Feels like many are more bent/broken names versus special names. It hit 745 and failed to hold. So this was something, just again, you always read the language. Someone's like, Red Dog, why you always look back? I'm like, you look back because you learn, right? So and I do post a lot of things in the public besides everything that goes to the Alpha team, everything that goes to the, Red Dog Mind. So like this was yesterday at what time? 10:57. Where you read the language. Spies pushed above 748, failed to hold 7, failed to hold it. So many tech names look worse. We are losing constructive names weekly. I'm sure, but harder to hold things higher. Google and Amazon were pretty predatory. SpaceX broke 172. So in the language, you can learn a lot. In the language, I try and tell you what's happening. Hard to see. But anyway, that was then, this is now. All I'm saying is that we try and do what we can, make the right choices. The only way you can make the right choices is if you have your mind right. The only way you can have your mind right is by, putting yourself in a position daily to rinse and repeat and get ready before the market even opens up. Anyway, what's up, Lindsay? So with that being said, MU. MU's coming out with numbers. MU, you know what? MU did that, besides it having numbers on Wednesday, didn't really give you any real clue that it was going to be down 112 points, except for the only thing is, look how extended it was from the 8th. If you got long here and got long at 110, hopefully you trimmed a little bit. If not, you're giving some money back. That was hard to see. SanDisk at least gave you a little bit of a topping tail. Like SanDisk looked as if it got extended, came off highs, and here was your 8-day. You never buy something so far extended from the 8-day. If you were going to buy SanDisk, this was your day, and hopefully you got smaller. So entries and exits always matter. And as far as gold and silver, someone's like, well, gold's so horrible. I'm like, all right, yes, it is. Gold's been trending down since 509. Lower highs, lower highs, lower highs. Gave you a red dog reversal here. Looked like it might digest. And then look at this. If you use your sell rules on gold, look what you could have saved yourself. What's gold doing today? Is it a safety day? No, it's not even a safety trade anymore. But remember those sell rules we just had up? Remember the sell rules? Well, if you use your sell rules right here, right? If you happen to be a little long after the red dog reversal, you sell some strength, doesn't hold a prior high, takes out a prior low, and you're done with it. And then you have to deal with that. So again, sell rules not only help you make money, they keep you safe from potential, scenario changes. You're short the XOL, good for you. I'm long some XOXS calls. I started buying them yesterday just for a trade, so that'll help. And I'm also short some premium. I do have a few leftover little names, but you can't be fully out of everything. The market didn't say get out of everything and get short the world yesterday. It just said, hey, be careful. Cash is a position. And for me, I probably am in 96% cash in T3 land. If you have a 401k and you have a 529, you don't have to be in cash. You just put your money in every single month. This doesn't matter. If you trade actively for a living and you want to get paid in June and you had a lot of days stacked, yesterday gave you some clues to be careful. When you have an inside wedge, and if you look at what happened here, even, this was Wednesday on Wash. This seemed like a little trappy. They instead of having follow through, they kind of like messed you up a little bit because they had to distribute stocks. Sometimes the big guys have to distribute stocks, and now again, 729 is the 50-day, 735 is right there. We'll see how it goes. BE, BE, if you use your day count rules, look at that, up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days. If I were in BE, I'd be small, right? If you're in versus gap, great swing trade. What's it doing today? It's down 28 points. So is it back? Is it even at yesterday's low? Yesterday's low is what? 330. All right, so you're giving back. But again, if you're in full boat up there in BE, you're not using a tier system. You're not using day count rules. You have to net money. You could have been along tier 1, tier 2, and got back to tier 1, and now you're giving some back. And look how far extended it is from the 8-day. Tesla trap people? Not really. Tesla looked decent yesterday. It looked a little bit better, but decent isn't special. Some things looked a little better than others. So maybe Tesla, is something you could look at today. Tesla's down 13, 391. What's this? This is 384. What's this low yesterday? 394. So Tesla's probably something I will look at to see if it could maybe be bought versus a 5-15-minute low, because there were some buyers yesterday and there was some decent European numbers, and sometimes Tesla likes to go up in a sea of red. So Tesla's worth a look. Yeah, and I could see why you would have been in some, not a lot. I'm going to watch SpaceX today. SpaceX is opening below 150. Okay, a lot of people have a vested interest here. A lot of the market makers for all those deals coming out. So I would think, if you're not in SpaceX, which you probably shouldn't be, especially if you're tactical. If you own it from the IPO at 135 and you can't sell it or whatever, it's another story. But if you're in it, from day trading land, well, you don't know how to day trade, to be honest. You should not, you should have got out of 187 or when it broke 172. And now, if you did, if it reclaims 150, maybe that'll be a spot. But if this stays below 150 and doesn't reclaim 150 today, it might even just do it for a trade. It might reclaim 150. And then you got to see how does it handle 154. So I would think if it reclaims 150, there's really nothing up until 154. That could be a trade. If it stays below 150, there's nothing until the IPO price. Multiple plans in your head. So this way, when the market's moving, you know how to execute. Yes, XBI has been pretty good. Can't be upset about the XBI. The XBI has been on a tear. The XBI is strong. I remember when we were going over the XBI here. I remember when it broke this downtrend way back when, with Vital and all those guys, Logical from Spaces. Well, look at that. Look how extended that was. 3 days higher. So hopefully if you're still in some, I get it, but you shouldn't be in a full position. You should have, bought more as it broke above this inside channel and trimmed into strength. And now you'll see what it's made of today. XBI is what? Down only $1.50, not a big deal considering the SPYs are down 10. So isn't it a little bit more forgiving to be in the right sector that's acting stronger? Sub 150 inspections, you would expect the next real support would be 130, not resistance, support. Yeah, I personally don't think it gets there, but it might. What do I know? All I know is I am not in it. I made a lot of money. I talked about getting out of your swing long and getting tactical at 211. And then, and then look at this all the way down. So now we'll see. This could be a good trade today. It might take back 150. It might give you a push to 154, and you could probably make some cash flow. We'll see. Robinhood's been acting better. Gave you a little red dog reversal sell yesterday. What's a red dog reversal sell? Well, you guys know what that is, right? Trades above a prior high and can't hold it. So after a move from 86 up, at least in our power plays, I got out of it all. Sold 3 tiers out in Robinhood stock and options. So congratulations. If you got involved with that, a lot of people your Robinhood trade paid for your small fee for your power plays options and stock. But anyway, what did this do? Using sell rules, get above a prior high, you sell some, that's some money. It doesn't hold it. You get out of the way. Now you'll see if it's buyable. Maybe it's buyable into this 102. Let's see. Where's Robinhood this morning? Probably down 4, down 6. All right, 99. So where's the 8-day? That's 99. So hey, if you got out of it at 110.73, you have the luxury of trying it somewhere into the 8-day, which is right here, which is around 99-ish. So there are ways to adjust your tier system. Use a tier system, use sell rules, use day count rules, use moving average rules. I know there's a lot of rules to be an active trader that trades for a living, but for you to be able to make hundreds of thousands of dollars or millions of dollars, you need rules in any business. And if you're going to be trading for a living, you better have your rules. Otherwise, it's going to be a very short career for you. Everyone's like, well, what about ASTS? This was supposed to be a home run. It was for a while, and then it all changed, right? You use every rule in the book here. I remember being stuck in some. I had after my 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I was very small. And all of a sudden something happened where a satellite blew up. And then you had a bearish gap here. Look at this. You had a bearish gap that never got filled, right? It gapped down. I got stopped out. I bought some options, traded around it, looked okay. And then this candle lost the 8-day. This was the trappy candle that said, hey, ASTS is no longer good. That was like a 110. You could have got out of 110 when it lost the 8-day because it was no longer special, and that's part of your methodology. Yes, you could try some options and you could day trade it, but to sit in the stock and just buy it because you loved it when it was awesome, well, now maybe you're in a little bit of harm's way. Unfortunately, it happens. But if you have a set of rules and you lost money at 107, it's a lot better than losing money at 73. And now you have 63 and 65 going across. So hey, if you think it's going to test this area and hold, you could try it there. 72.59 is yesterday's lows. 72.59. Maybe it reclaims it, maybe it doesn't. If you're flat it, you have an opportunity to test it versus a 5 15-minute low if there's a signal. Let's see where ASTS is this morning. ASTS is down 3 and change, 69-ish. So kind of no man's land, right? This is 65. This is what? This is 63. So, but again, a lot of things happened from 133 down that you could have seen if you didn't have just an opinion that you love ASTS and you made so much money during this move. But things change, my dogs. Things change in life. Everyone gets older. Sometimes you learn as you get older. Sometimes you make mistakes to learn. Sometimes you have to make big mistakes, for it to settle in. Sometimes you let somebody help you learning curve. I'm here to try and help you learning curve. I've been doing this since 1998. A lot of things have happened, a lot of seat time, a lot of experience, a lot of when I post experience matters. Yes, it does. Sometimes your feel and your intuition can get you out of the way before a move like this happens too. Software is slightly green. Well, when they sell lately, the algos are when they sell semis, they buy some software. So if you want to look at the IGV today, which is very broken, okay, and then look for you know a red dog reversal right here. This is what this is 86.61. All right, maybe you get one. Okay, 86.61. So if you want to do a tactical trade, maybe there is a tactical trade here, but it's tactical. It's broken. Let's see where IGV is this morning. IGV is up 19 cents. Woohoo! Well, it's better than being down 10. But anyway, yeah. So see if this holds. Let's see if what's Palantir doing. Palantir. Wow, look at how that broke that area. I tried Palantir on this day. I did. I tried it. I thought maybe we were going to hold 127. It was worth a try, and then that happened. Little red dog reversal at 135, traded through, couldn't hold it, get out of the way. Right there, using your sell rules. You sold it here, you didn't have to hold your nose and go underwater. What's the low here? 119.20. 119.20 is yesterday's low. If you're looking to be tactical, hey, maybe after, 3 down days, it could reclaim that and you could buy it for a trade though. I don't even know. Is it up this morning? No, it's down 40 cents. Anyway, you always have a lot to consider if you trade for a living. Okay, you need to learn, take classes, educate, learn technical analysis, learn chart patterns, learn a tier system, learn day count rules, learn how to navigate, learn how to sit there with a clear mind so you can execute with confidence. How do you do that? You win the morning to win the day. That is why I have Red Dog Mindset to help you with the pregame so then you could get ready for when your tactics actually need to be executed on, and you can think clearly versus being on tilt versus being in revenge mode. Anyway, with that said, 654, try and make some cash flow, try and respect the money. If things are moving too fast, that's cool too. Know your time frame. I post to 6 different accounts, so when things like this happen, one account could be taking advantage of it or not. I have not one share of anything in my tactical account. I'm going to be tactical today. I told you some things that I'm going to look at, some levels in the spies and the Qs and some names. And, if you're down money, just make the right decision today. If you didn't make the right decision yesterday, try and figure out what the right decision today is and adjust so this way you're not trapped hoping and praying, because there is no hoping and praying in trading. There's trade management. There's no hoping and praying. They're not going to help you. Get out of a bad position or massage or salvage or profit. So with that said, 735, 729. One more time, where are the spies? Spies are right there. If you were short the spies, this is a spot to probably cover a third. If you think it's going to be a trend down day, I would think if they do try and rally us, it doesn't get back above 739. So if it rallies to 739 and turns lower and breaks out, then you have 729. If it doesn't even hold 735, goes straight to 729, hey, maybe you test a few things, especially if you get out of things yesterday. So again, role play in your head what you might do when things are in motion, when the market tells you, not the people on TV or the people who play traders on TV. Anyway, 6:56, I got to go. I appreciate you guys for tuning in. Good luck today. I appreciate you. And, just again, strong decisions for a strong life in whatever it is that you're doing.